All right, let's pull back the curtain on something you probably don't see every day. There's a hidden, high-stakes tech race happening right now deep inside the world of finance. And really, it's a battle fought with algorithms, not armies. The outcome? Well, it's going to decide who survives the next decade of banking.
Just think about that for a second. It sounds completely insane, right? Like something out of a sci-fi movie. A slice of time so small you literally can't even perceive it, but it holds the key to incredible wealth. Well, it's not science fiction. In the world of high-frequency trading, that's just reality. See here, time isn't just money. It's the entire game. And that one fact is what's fueling the very first battleground in this whole AI arms race. Okay, so in the world of high-frequency trading, the game is all about speed. It's won or lost in tiny fractions of a second. The first algorithm to spot a little flicker in the market and act on it, it gets the prize. Everybody else, well, they're just too late. And the speed we're talking about is just mind-blowing. A single trade decision from seeing the data to actually making the trade has to happen in under 10 microseconds. To give you some perspective, that is literally faster than a nerve impulse can travel from your finger to your brain. So why is that speed so hard to get? Because the AI models making these calls have just exploded in complexity. We went from these older models with maybe 10 million parameters to these brand new, incredibly sophisticated models called multimodal transformers. These things can analyze text, charts, news, everything, and they have over 10 billion parameters. That massive jump is exactly why even last year's hardware is already a bottleneck. Now, let's shift gears to the second battlefront. And this affects every single one of us. It's the constant, real-time war against financial fraud. And this one isn't just about being fast. It's about being smart. Think about it. Financial institutions are processing billions of transactions every single day. And here's the tricky part. Every time you swipe your card, every transfer, every online payment has to be checked for fraud in milliseconds, all without slowing things down for legitimate customers like you. So how on earth do they do it? The secret weapon here is a special kind of AI called a graph neural network, or a GNN. Now, instead of just looking at your one transaction, GNNs map out this huge web of connections. They can spot a complex criminal ring that's spread across multiple countries by connecting all these little activities that seem totally unrelated. It's kind of like having a detective who can see the entire conspiracy all at once. But, that incredible power comes with a pretty hefty price tag. Just one of these GNN fraud models can take over 50 gigabytes of dedicated video memory just to run. And what that means is that the hardware that was perfectly fine just a couple of years ago is now basically a paperweight. It's totally incapable of running these essential security tools. All right, on to our third and final battleground. And this one is different. It fundamentally changes the very nature of work itself. We are moving way beyond AI as just a tool and into an era where AI is becoming an autonomous workforce. I mean, just look at this growth. The market for these AI agents in finance is blowing up, growing at a compound rate of 45.4% a year. That is by far the highest in any industry, and it's a huge signal that a massive shift is already happening. And this is the vision that's driving all that growth. It's a goal set by giants like JP Chase, and they're aiming for it as early as 2027. So picture this, one single human employee supervising a whole team of 20, maybe 30 autonomous AI agents. And each one is handling really complex stuff like loan underwriting or compliance monitoring, all on its own. And please, don't think this is some far-off dream. The scale is already wild. Bank of America's AI assistant, you might have heard of it, Erica, has already handled 2 billion customer interactions. Every single one of those conversations needs immense computing power to feel natural and seamless. So what happens when you put it all together? You've got the race for speed in trading, the battle for intelligence and security, and this huge push for autonomous workers. A really clear picture starts to form. This isn't just about getting a little competitive edge anymore. It's a full-blown, inescapable arms race where falling behind is simply not an option. Now, you might think the main reason for all this spending is just to be more efficient, but you'd be wrong. A whopping 80% of these firms are pumping up their AI budgets because of intense pressure from regulators. They literally have to use AI for things like catching money laundering, or they risk getting hit with absolutely crippling fines. And that brings us to maybe the most important question of all. We've talked a lot about the cost of all this new hardware, but what's the real price of doing nothing?
Well, the consequences of just sitting still are brutal, and they create a domino effect. First, you lose business to your faster competitors. Then you start losing more money to fraud because your defenses are outdated. Then come the massive regulatory fines. Pretty soon, you can't even attract top AI talent because they don't want to work with old tech. And all the while, your competition is running up to 20% more efficiently than you are. The cost of standing still is way, way higher than the cost of moving forward.
When you actually look at the math, upgrading is unbelievably clear. A simple hardware refresh can literally double your processing speed, which basically cuts the cost of every single transaction in half. For a big bank, an investment like that can pay for itself in less than 6 months. It's not just a good idea, it's a complete financial no-brainer. So in the end, it all comes down to this one idea. For the giants of the financial world, investing in the most powerful AI hardware, well, it isn't just another item on a budget. It's not a technical choice. It's a fundamental question of survival in a game that is only getting faster, smarter, and way more competitive.